Hi. I'm curious how people use NaNoWriMo for revision. I've never tried that before. I've only started from scratch, but is there anything you recommend for structuring it and kind of quantifying your work if you're not starting from the beginning?
Yeah, revision is a little different. I think the main thing is the goal and deadline approach. Um, I think it's easy for a writer to just get trapped in an endless, infinite loop of 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 not finishing something. Um, but I mean, revision is definitely different, and it definitely has different stages too. So I think thinking of each stage and what each stage requires, and it is like writing a novel in the sense that you can break it down into smaller chunks. So, and we're coming out with a revision boot camp eventually, which will help both set goals and provide guidance. But for instance, like one part of revision is not looking at your draft for a while, and everybody has a different period of time to get. I mean, and you don't look at it so that you become more objective about it, like you're reading it like a reader or an editor. And then there's another part of revision that a lot of people like to read through it once and read through it on the macro level of just seeing what holds together and what doesn't hold together. Like I said earlier, some people like to plot or put an outline around it at that point. Um, so yeah, I think it's and the more you write, the more you know how much time it will take. I don't know. Revision is tough in that sense. Like when the novel I just mentioned, the revision took way longer than I thought. I thought it was a pretty simple revision. It wasn't that dramatic, or it wasn't like a structural upheaval. But had a lot of pressure on myself because I did want it to get to that perfect state where I was sending it out. So I guess there was a lot of fine tuning on the sentence level as well. And I think that's where it's hard to set like a strict time goal. So you might want to think about these early passes and like what's your page count? What's your page goal, or what's your time? I mean, I think like another way to think about it is just time. Like, are you going to can you dedicate an hour a day to it for 30 days or 50 days? And just focus on those micro kind of levels of accomplishment. Yeah. But sometimes people think, I mean, on the bigger level, so I'm just going to confuse things, but it's easy to say, oh, this novel just needs another year's work, and then 1 year turns into 10 years. I mean, you just novels are crazy. It's hard to know how many drafts it's going to take. I mean, I think a lot of genre writers who are really churning books out and publishing them, they have a much better sense, and they can you know write more within a time schedule. But I find I can't do that. That was probably entirely unhelpful.
No, it's very helpful. I'm only just beginning, so any advice is good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, sometimes I think like, we focus on word count goals in NaNoWriMo, but I think time worked is a
Okay.
really good goal. Just to hold yourself accountable to work every day, or to work frequently, or to say if you want to do 10 hours a week, or
Yeah,
30 hours a month. Yeah,
that's
focus
really
on that.
helpful.
Yeah,
Thank you.
sure.
Jenny, you had a question.
Yes, two questions. First one is, you write so many short pieces, if they're 100 words each. I wonder like where you get the inspiration for just like that kind of amazing quantity of stories. I feel like sometimes I'm struggling just to find one. And then my second question is I write for my day job. And I spend, especially in the shutdown, just feel like I spend so much time staring at a computer screen that by the end of the day, I just can't get myself to keep staring and writing. And I just wondered if you had any suggestions for that.
Yeah, that's a good one. Both of them are. The writing the 100-word stories. I most of my brainstorming's so weird. I think the answer to Sharon's question about like how work can smother the imagination is that a lot of the time during my workday, I'm not coming up with any ideas for stories, and then when I'm driving to work, I'm thinking about work. And when I'm driving home from work, I'm thinking about work. But I do like set up dedicated time on the weekends, which is just dream time. And my favorite way to kind of daydream or brainstorm ideas is just by reading. You know, I sit and I read, and I have my little moleskin notebook with me, and thoughts, ideas, whatever images pop into my mind, and I write them down. And so it's really my creative thing is that I'll, you know, fill this notebook and kind of constantly be taking notes for different projects and typing them into my computer. And so I have a whole folder of flash fiction ideas. You know, many of those stories will never be written. And I have to discipline myself to go back and remember and look at them. So I'm just kind of constantly like filing away story ideas. And I guess just because I've been writing for so long, the problem isn't getting the story ideas. It's like actually finding the time to write them, because I kind of have too many ideas. I have a whole folder of novel ideas, a whole folder of essay ideas, you know, and so it's kind of what's calling me, what feels urgent, that I'll actually write them. So that's the inspiration part. And then I think that the staring at the screen part, are you at all like, because it is like after I've worked all day, I mean, the evening is just such a bad time for me to write, and it's largely because I'm bugged out from looking at the screen. Are you a morning person or an evening person?
I have a 1.5-year-old baby also.
You're
If that answers your question.
You're a baby person.
Yeah.
You're both, or you're neither, maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
I'm a
Yeah.
busy with taking care of a
Yeah.
baby person.
That is super tough. I think taking care of a baby might be the tough. I don't know. It's a tough creative time, other than their nap time. But sometimes you need a nap too.
I use that for my nap.
Yeah, I used to take a lot of naps when my kids were younger. I think you might be a time confetti person. And so I would, and the thing about like the Toni Morrison story I told earlier is that 15 minutes of the day, and I don't know if this is true, but I'm just guessing, she gave herself a break. And she said, okay, this is not my most creative, thoughtful time of the day, but I have this time. And so I'm going to use it. And I think it's really tough. I have a hard time using those times that I'm just exhausted to do it creatively. I find it just super tough, especially in the evenings. But when I do it, I'm really happy, and you can get a lot done over time. If you just, I mean, don't do 15 minutes, do 5 minutes. I think sometimes too is that when we write one sentence, it's just about writing that first sentence, and that first sentence gives us energy to write more. And so it's just allowing yourself to say, I'm going to use this time for myself. And it's also allowing yourself to say, this will make me a better person, a better mother, a better other things as well. And I think that that's really true. So yeah, give yourself a break.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And also, Jenny, have you ever thought of writing longhand?
Yeah, I've done that to some success. I have done that.
Yeah, I find that writing longhand doesn't feel like staring at a screen. And certain things I write better longhand than on the computer. So
Yeah, no, I think that is also a good suggestion.
Yeah, I always take breaks to write longhand. I think there's a lot.
Oh, Grant, we've lost your hello? We couldn't hear you for a second.
Okay, I'm back now though.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think there's something about the slowness that you write with longhand. There's just something about that pace that I think is really enhances your creativity. So yeah, I recommend that too.
And does anybody else have a question? Because all the raised hands have gone down. Anybody else? Well, Grant, thank you so much for joining us. This has been so much fun and really enlightening and inspiring. And I'm absolutely gobsmacked at how you get so many balls in the air and keep them all juggled and in the air. So
Thank you so much. This was super fun, and I love the questions. And yeah, I hope you all try out NaNoWriMo and experiment with your creativity and keep writing.